AniNews to give us a breakdown of every new isekai and fantasy shows coming up spring. Excuse me, 2025. Let's get it.
After a crazy season of some of the best isekai and fantasy currently out there, now things have slowed down with not much of anything.
Yup, straight up. There is I gotta bring this one person up from my chat. Sorry, one person up from my spring 2025 video. We basically reviewed every single anime that's coming out on spring 2025. And I gotta say, this is one of the weakest seasons in terms of like enjoyable animes to watch, in my opinion. Obviously, it's a very subjective take based on the profile of this channel, which is isekai and fantasy. So obviously, it's not a surprise when you don't have many isekai and fantasy shows, you know, and notable big leading frontrunners like Dan Da Dan, and that I'm gonna assume that the spring is pretty bad. Look at this over here. Spring is gonna be one of the best seasons in a while. That is just cap. Like, Slice of Life Senpai, listen, everyone has a right to their opinion, and everyone also can call your opinion shit. What the fuck do you mean one of the best seasons in the while? It's unanimously, everyone's agreeing, one of the weakest seasons in a while. Yeah, sure, you listed a bunch of these animes, but they're a bunch of fucking who? Who cares? Yeah, absolutely stacked. I don't know why people are calling it the weak season. And it really goes to show how separated people are in their own bubbles. The dungeon, isekai, fantasy, power fantasy enjoyers are all like, there's nothing happening in spring 2025. Then there is, I don't know what group of people these are saying this is one of the best seasons of anime to happen, which it just blows my mind.
For the first time in a while, we only have one new isekai, so I'm kind of at a loss for what I'm gonna cover this season. Luckily, the Overlord movie did just recently come out on Blu-ray, so expect videos for that along with some catch-up on ReZero and Danmachi.
Yo, give me a fucking season 5, Overlord announcement so we can farm that series finally.
Now, to start with the sequels of spring 2025, first we have Fire Force Season 3.
Can't watch it.
A two-part continuation to the series, with the first starting now, then the second coming later in January of next year.
That's actually pretty hype. Fire Force, obviously we can't watch it in this channel because Battle Shonen does just always bad in this channel. But the third channel, whenever we do that, and we again, probably gonna start Black Clover, and we finish that, and we start polling to see what are we gonna watch next, like the second channel, what we're doing right now, right? We start with Beyblade, then people pulled in Ben 10. Fire Force, I think, has a decent chance to be covered in the third channel.
Supposedly, this will be the lead up to the conclusion of Fire Force as a whole, so if you're a fan of the series, expect things to start wrapping up. That said, there are still about 130 chapters of the manga left to cover, so while that may sound like a lot compared to the 175 they covered in the first 50 episodes, it is possible they fit these 130 into just 24. This is, after all, the most climactic part of the series, and a lot of the content will be fights and action which go by a whole lot faster than world building and dialogue.
I wonder if people are going to be mad about the ending. Usually there's a pattern of behavior where Battle Shonens don't know how to conclude. Rarely do they ever conclude on a positive note. Everything is just rushed and just wrapped up in a way that's very unsatisfactory and people cry about it.
Either way, it should be a good finale to the series, what with David Production remaining as the studio responsible.
It's a good ending.
Slime 300 returns with Season 2.
I'm pretty hyped for Slime 300 Season 2, but at the same time worried. We covered Season 1 in our channel, and finale will go up very soon, but goddamn. The quality was unreal, but there's an entire separate studio and a team working on Season 2 now, so I'm worried. We should check out the
4
PV.
years after the original, which for some reason just doesn't feel right. To me, this was a series that feels like came out max 2 years ago. I guess it just fell into a weird place back during the crazy COVID days. In any case, this lighthearted fantasy and the witch starring as our protagonist will be back with much of the same shenanigans as the first season.
Okay.
We got an ever-expanding cast and the comfy family dynamic, all within the standard fantasy isekai setting we know and love. Loser Ranger brings us its second core disguised.
Unfortunately, we can't. We dropped this because so many people lost interest as soon as this started to go into Battle Royale testing.
It's a second season since the original series was always planned to have 2 cores. I myself didn't get a chance to watch it due to it being in Disney jail, but I have heard good things about this subverted depiction of the Power Ranger formula.
Yeah?
Like, the Power Rangers are actually the bad guys, and it's the powerless dusters beneath them who need to expose the farce they've manufactured around them.
It's a unique concept.
It's an overarching plot that I've actually seen a lot of people compare to The Boys. So, if you haven't had the chance to watch this underdog show yourself, then perhaps this might be the season to check it out. Finally, we have Season 2 for Bye Bye Earth, which, though not as
Haven't even
popular
seen
as
Season
any of
1.
the previous entries, does present a more complex and compelling story. This isn't one of the
Yo, is this the female isekai lead summoned into a furry world where basically everyone is racist to humans? I think I remember reading a synopsis like that and be like, huh, they finally, reversed the cards.
more complex and compelling story. This isn't one of those series that explains things right from the get-go, so a second season like this will definitely be good to answer a lot of the questions I'm sure you had if you watched Season 1. Whether that makes it entertaining is up for you to decide, but if you're looking for something to get you thinking, then this might be worth watching for you. Now, let's move on to the new anime,
Debate.
starting with a series that's both highly anticipated and expected to be disappointing.
Yep.
This is the beginning after the end, and though very possibly one of the big three for online webcomics, I refuse to get my hopes up since the trailers honestly haven't shown me anything worth getting hyped over.
Bro, episode 1 was good. Genuinely. I don't think it was mid. I think it was good. I think it was like a 7 out of 10. I had a lot of fun watching episode 1. The way that Arthur's past life is narrating in this baby form, the comedy is hilarious with him pooping himself. The emotional tones of parental love that he never had, that was very touching. There was a lot of funny moments with the dad too, and then the baby basically aura farming. It's honestly really fun, enjoyable to watch. Obviously not peak isekai, not even close. But like, if I just again went into the season blindfolded, just watched this anime without knowing anything about it, I'd be like, huh, all right boys, we got a fun anime to watch.
As much as I want to treat this like the next Solo Leveling, we just
It's not gonna be.
can't say.
It's gonna be probably something closer to the next like Tower of God. Better though, hopefully better.
Since that would be disrespectful to Solo Leveling, especially with the crazy adaptation we just got for it.
Yeah.
Still, the story itself might be adapted well, so if we set a
Yeah, I think the story is carrying. The power system is also pretty refreshing. It's nice. I like the way that it presented itself. Like, I think the story will carry the animation in this anime.
aside the generic look it unfortunately has, there is a chance that the plot can carry it.
Yep.
That's a top
Just remember, Mail Order Isekai that's ending today. The finale already aired. We're gonna watch it tonight. That has garbage production value. There's no animation. But the story is so good that I'm looking forward to it every week. This already is surpassing the animation quality there, which isn't to say much. So again, like, this could be a very enjoyable watch.
topic I plan to cover in a separate video, but if you want an abridged version, it's essentially this. The strongest king in history, whose life was rather empty, reincarnates as a powerless boy seeking to live this new life more fully. That may sound a bit familiar to Mushoku Tensei,
'Cause
and
it
while
is.
it certainly is in the early stages of our protagonist's reincarnation,
Literally one for one here. Obviously, the author took a lot of inspirations from MT.
he differs later on with both the way he fights and the reason he's fighting for.
Okay.
So, where Mushoku Tensei is more of this slow burn with its plot and character progression, the beginning after the end is more of a classic power fantasy,
I love it.
albeit a well-written one. So, take with that what you will, and at the very least I'd suggest giving it a shot. There's a reason why it's as popular as it is online, so we can only hope the anime does its best to portray that.
I don't know about that. I think it's gonna be a fun watch though. If the quality of like episode 1, if the entertainment value is there throughout the entire season, then like I think we're gonna be having a good time.
Now, the one new isekai we'll be getting this season
Great.
is surprisingly unique in the form of I'm the evil lord of an intergalactic empire.
Such a enjoyable show. Tasty! The thing that's fucked up about this is that 3 episodes are already early released online, but in Japanese TV, it's airing on April 26th. So we gotta wait again, like 4 weeks for episode 4. It's fucked up.
I'm the evil lord of an intergalactic empire. If I had to sum it up in one sentence only, imagine your standard isekai protagonist reincarnated as the leader of one of the evil factions in Gundam. Or better yet, imagine them reincarnated as the replacement for Palpatine in Star Wars.
Okay.
Mix in an army of mechs and a goal to take over an interstellar empire, and that's pretty much what you have here. It's an interesting take on isekai that finally brings us to the future for once. Sure, it does seem to keep a lot of the standard fantasy tropes, but I like the heavy sci-fi theme as well.
Me too. The topic and the lore of AI, what happened in the past and how they're basically banning AI because they're so scared of it. That was nice. I really enjoy themes like that. A very futuristic isekai setting in intergalactic space is Very refreshing.
Plus, it's giving off a more chill Overlord vibe. This is the series I'm personally looking forward
Paul
to the most,
Tensei!
since aside from looking like the life story of Paul Greyrat, from old country bumpkin to master swordsman actually looks polished.
Woo! We got Ankh Power Fantasy. I don't think this is an isekai. It's a fantasy, like dungeon fantasy show, right? Boken Shell's Guild Adventures and stuff. Based on the trailer, the use of CG is the thing that I'm looking forward to the most, because they were really highlighting their fight using CG and it looked good.
A retired teacher of the sword suddenly gets appointed
Interspecies reviewers, Passion. Okay.
as a special instructor for the Kingdom's Knights,
Miruko-chan
leading him to
too.
once again become a teacher to a lot of his former students. The thing is, with them now extremely successful with titles like Elite Knight and Ace Adventurer,
Oh my
he doesn't
God, the
see why they
design.
really need him anymore.
Well, yeah, true. But like these girls, basically, like it seemed like based on a trailer, a lot of people are disrespecting Unk. But Unk has all these like elite like kids that he trained up in the past, and now they're in positions of like prestige, so they'll be glazing Unk and everyone else will be like, oh my god, who is this Unk?
So, that's the setting where this power fantasy takes place, and while certainly not anything entirely different, it does have lots of action and is praised for its fights.
Yeah.
I imagine it'll be an entertaining watch so long as the fights are portrayed properly.
Look at the CG. If I hear
Sword of the Demon Hunter slows things down with an Eastern type fantasy, focusing on a time-traveling demon hunter struggling to find his purpose in life.
this one, I've already skipped because I feel like Eastern setting in Japan, like Japanese, like medieval setting, never does well to the global audience. It's probably only, you know, gonna be doing well from the Japanese audience. Like it's like Elusive Samurai all over again, or even like Rurouni Kenshin. So that's why I skipped it. But if people are super into it and I see the numbers, maybe we could check it out.
It's a series deeply rooted in its characters and their motivations, so while at first glance this may seem like something akin to Demon Slayer, it definitely has its own two legs to stand on. So, if you're a fan of the various eras of Japan and the people within them, then
That's the thing, right? Various areas of Japan, no disrespect to their culture, but the global audience, I don't think just really gives a fuck about that setting, which is unfortunate to see.
I think this might be worth the watch for you. This is the brilliant healer's new life in the shadows, and just as the title states, gives us a healer who runs an underground healing clinic.
Oh yeah, this is the one that we're also gonna watch today. The Dark Healer one. This is not an isekai though, huh?
It's kinda like if Eminence in Shadows centered around a healer instead of the god of edginess.
Hype?
Our protagonist is a guy whose life has never been filled with opportunities, so when he finally takes things into his own hands, his self-taught healing magic becomes the means to build his life anew. It just so happens to be as a so-called shadow healer.
Yeah, the production of this, it looks good. Just like the basic scenes here and there. Like, it's not a PowerPoint presentation slide.
The unaware atelier master brings us
Mid. Absolutely fucking mid. But it's the type of show that, you know, it's junk food that we enjoy. I think I'll continue watching it.
discount Bell from Danmachi, all the way down to his hairstyle and armor.
Straight up, it looks like Danmachi Bell.
Even his personality is somewhat similar too, since
Yup, innocent, ignorant, young kid that doesn't know anything about romance, and a bunch of girls just fawn after his innocence and purity.
Kurt's the type of protagonist who's both kind-hearted and naive. He's just not skilled when it comes to combat, but with regards to everything else, he's apparently the best. It's a trait Kurt himself doesn't seem to be aware of. So, I don't know if that makes this an inverse power fantasy, but with Kurt being overpowered in pretty much everything that's not fighting, I imagine a premise like this should make for some interesting encounters.
Yeah, I think that the power fantasy here is unique, right? Because it's not about Kurt going around beating up monsters and being like, oh my god, everyone look. It's more like, bro used this mana to basically build up construction walls way faster than anyone else. And it's just like, what the hell? Bro is, you know, compressing magic stones in such a way that only like sages could do, but he does it better. It's like a trades type of power fantasy, which I can definitely enjoy. As long as the slice of life is funny, you know, we got some, you know, fan service here and there, and Kurt just kind of pops off in these unorthodox ways, I think that we could keep this around.
We just have to wait and see if it turns out that way. Next, we have Once Upon a Witch's Death, which is a more modern fantasy centering around a girl cursed with only 1 year to live.
This one, I'm not sure if we're going to keep watching. First episode performance was already so mid, right? I think that the first episode is usually the highest performing video, and then everything else just like goes down and down until you reach a baseline of the people that's actually watching it. A very sentimental show grounded in like very like emotions, right? It's about like making people cry tears of happiness, but the first episode was like so like what's it called? Joy and sorrow. I just don't think that my audience is really into it. The production of this looks fantastic though, right? Overall, the anime looks great, but it's just the story just doesn't align with my core audience.
This girl is also the apprentice of one of the 7 sages who informs her the only way to break the curse is to become immortal. How does she become immortal? Well, she first needs to collect tears of joy from 1,000 different people. Only then can she make the Seed of Life and do so. So, in a similar vein to Violet Evergarden or The Wandering Witch Elaine, this is a show that takes you on an emotional journey where each encounter is different. It's, at its core, a drama revolving around the interactions with her. This is the romance fantasy that is perfect.
This one was really fun. I enjoyed this so much. This shit felt like a villainous type of... It's the josei anime. It's the villainous josei anime that we enjoy so much in this channel, right? Just nuclear drama, people just being so evil and malicious for no reason, drama happening, shit popping off. God damn, the first episode was crazy fun.
Fantasy, the Two Perfect Saint, and while dealing with a protagonist that's overpowered, her exceptional abilities is actually what makes her the problem. She's deemed as insufferable by those around her, and
because she's too perfect, and she doesn't smile. Everyone hates her, her parents hate her, they sold her off. It's comically... They're so comically evil in the way that they treat her that it's hilarious. It just feels like a really like I don't want to say a shitty soap opera, but the drama, it feels that way, and it's just so fun to watch.
As a result, is sold off to the neighboring country. This is because saints are in existence every country desires, so
That's right.
Despite her being apparently miserable, she's still a powerful presence worth having.
And I hope like the saints exist in this world because monsters will basically attack, and you need saints to like erect a barrier. And since they threw away one saint here, and the sister, I think the sister left also. There's a very sus frame of her looking at her sister's carriage moving, you know, going to the different kingdom. I think that she also left. So imagine that this kingdom has no longer saints, and now they're gonna be attacked by monsters, and they're gonna beg us for help. Like there's that type of, you know, revenge plot.
It's then the story becomes focused on this saint and her new life in a brand new country. The Gorilla God's go-to girl follows a rather similar path, since it too also deals with a gifted protagonist and quite a bit of romance.
This one, I'll probably check out episode 1. Anyways,
you see, this is
there was like a gorilla god like giving her powers or some shit. I'm like, what?
This is a world where people are blessed by gods represented by various animals, so when the main character is blessed by the gorilla god, she's given incredible power that attracts the attention of the royal knights.
Okay.
This is where the reverse harem comes into play, and it's essentially her trying not to stand out amongst them.
It could be really fun. It does feel like an otome, not really a villainous show, but that kind of setting with the twist to it.
Now, Theogonia does hint at being an isekai, but the extent to which it is seems to just be cloudy memories from a past life. The real essence of the story comes in the form of a classic underdog tale, centering around a protagonist struggling to survive in what's called the borderland. It's a grim setting where him and his village are constantly at risk from the relentless invasion of demi-beasts trying to take their territory. He's by no means very powerful, so we're shown his fight to survive along with the gradual understanding of a past life that's extremely vague to him. It's one of those series that not many people knew about before, so I'm curious to see if it can garner some traction.
I don't know. Should we watch it? Wouldn't hurt to do an episode 1. Depends on what day this anime lands and if there's, you know, slots available. It seems kind of interesting, right? The premise seems interesting enough. Kind of aligns with the profile of my channel, but undecided.
Another anime I'm fairly intrigued by is Compass 2.0 with its seemingly intricate game world. I still don't fully understand what it's about, but it almost seems fate-like with the way heroes from a different world partner.
Whoa.
But it almost...
Hold up, look at this. This is basically, we have a Shota. Shota and the
almost
mamas.
Seems fate-like with the way...
What the fuck is this design? The dude in the middle, bro.
Heroes from a different world partnered together with humans to fight against each other.
Okay.
Now, there's no source material other than the mobile game from 2016, so I imagine if it's getting an anime, it was pretty successful.
Okay.
Either way, I'm always a sucker for strategy-focused game anime like this one. We just gotta hope it has some depth to it.
Could be fun.
Finally, we have our seasonal idol fantasy, bringing us a magical girl hybrid in the form of Princession Orchestra. It's an original series from Studio Silverlink, so aside from the existential monster threat and the princesses that fight against it, there's really not much else to say about it. So, if you're looking for what the synopsis describes as a pop song fantasia filled with energy and bravery, then by all means knock yourself out with this one. Now, there is one last anime I do want to recommend, and though it's not an isekai or a fantasy, it is a cool looking sci-fi original coming from Wit Studio on Netflix.
Oh yeah, we are gonna watch Moonrise. This is the other one where what's it called? Basically, AI runs the world, and AI recommended to ship off all the criminals and bad people off to the moon, and then the moon people basically decided, fuck this shit, and now there's war happening, right? Yeah. I remember reading the synopsis. This one and Lazarus was a standout to me in terms of like the setting, the plot.
You can always expect Wit to give us some of the best animation, and with this looking to be an action-packed sci-fi epic, I think we might be in for a treat with this one.
Alright.
It seems like a Gundam-type story without the mechs, one focused on revenge, politics, and war.
Could be fun.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for spring 2025.
Looks pretty underwhelming, in my opinion. There is literally nothing that stands out to become the front runner.
Let me know which of these you plan on watching, and if there's a certain show you think would do well for me to talk about, let me know down in the comments too.
I genuinely don't know. I don't know if there's any anime, you know, again, like our channel, like identity aligns heavily with AniNews' channel. And I think a lot of people that are quote unquote carried by these exceptional trends are really just scrapping for anything this season, right? Because there's nothing. Genuinely, there is nothing. It's just a bunch of like average or just mediocre shows without any front runner to like define the season. There are some animes that have huge quality, like we watched the Your Forma last night. It was pretty good, but I don't think a show like that is very accessible to the mainstream audience. Lazarus, I think, has potential to be amazing too, right? The overall plot of it sounds really cool, and it's also done by, was it Studio Mappa or Madhouse? And then Moonrise too looks pretty cool. Devil May Cry did drop an entire batch on Netflix side of the anime stuff, right? So I don't know. There's some people that's gonna enjoy that, but overall, this season is just nothing. It's a bunch of meh. But that's the thing. If you need to be carried by a trend, you're not gonna last long in this game, right? That's why your community is so important. So we're probably going to just like bunker down. We're gonna pick some exceptional weeklies here and there that's gonna do well, right? I already know which ones I'm gonna be watching. And then I think we're gonna really heavily focus on just the community series and make sure that, you know, that's going for the next couple like months. And then when summer shows up, summer is the one that is looking the most exciting, right? Summer is looking fucking crazy with the amount of projects lined up. And then into fall too. So it's gonna be a slow 3 months, but doesn't mean that the content will be slow for my channel. Please check out Mr. AniNews' channel. Here's a link to the video. Go give it a like if you did, and see you next time.